Hey everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nissa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. Let me just adjust my camera slightly. It is Thursday, and it's chilly. It's only 10 degrees outside Celsius. It's not, as I always say, it's not cold compared to a lot of places, but it's chilly. So I've got my ears and face covered a bit, and a nice wool cardigan on. And I need to get some stuff done for the pantry. So that's what today's going to be, is about filling jars for bits and pieces of meals for the pantry. I'm not sure what we're eating as such for dinner or lunch today. The kids have already had some noodles, but we'll figure that out as we go. I probably won't bother recording that unless it's part of this. But for what we're going to do is we're going to do some pantry stuff. So I finally got the garlic pieces. There is a turkey on my patio. Give me a second. We also have the generator running because power is a bit of an issue with all these overcast cold days. So that's going in the background. Anyway, I finally got the garlic pieces that I needed. So we're going to make the everything bagel seasoning. We're going to make the French onion soup mix, dry mix. We're also going to make some chili oil and some ramen seasoning. And then hopefully some hot chocolate powder and some chocolate cake mix. That's the idea anyway. So all those things to go in containers or jars for on the shelf for the kids to use for various things. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the chili oil. I think I'm going to get that out of the way. So I've got some big things of garlic here. This is the very end of the elephant garlic that I bought, and I don't have any more left, which is a bit sad. I actually just messaged Nikki to see if she had any eating quality left because I would have liked some more, but she didn't, which is fine. So I'll have to see if I can get some somewhere else or something, but all we're going to do is we're going to smash it a bit, bruise it, and then we're just going to dice it up. So I'm just going to keep working it until it ends up in little pieces. We're just trying to get this as fine as possible without too much effort, because it's going to get hot oil poured on it, and it's going to shrink anyway, so that's probably fine. Alright, let me just grab a jug. I just do it straight in a jar, so we're just going to put all this garlic in the jar. Alright, so we've got 4 big cloves of garlic in the jar. We need to heat up a cup of oil. I've got pot here, and I'm just going to use neutral vegetable oil. Peanut oil or avocado oil or something would be good for this, but I don't have any, and vegetable oil is nice and cheap. So we've got a cup of oil there. And I'm just going to put that on to heat up. And to this, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of chili flakes. We're going to add half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon of black vinegar. I poured a little faster than expected. And then a quarter of a cup of toasted sesame seeds, which I've just toasted. So I'm going to grab those. So a quarter of a cup of toasted sesame seeds, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of chicken stock in there. You can use like an MSG or something. A little chicken stock will work well. And then we're going to pour that hot oil over this, and then we will have chili oil to have with the ramen noodles and stuff. So just going to get that oil up to heat, and then we will pour it over this. So my angle's really bad at the moment. I will readjust once I get this done. But so this is in here. So we wanted to bring the oil up to about 175 Celsius, which is just about there. And then we're just going to pour it over. Now, there's enough in here for the heat to be fine, and it's a mason jar. It's also on wood, which will absorb some of the heat, so it shouldn't have any explosion problems. But you know, I couldn't find my Pyrex jug, so we will do what we can. Unfortunately, I thought this pot had a pouring lid, but it had a pouring spout, but it doesn't. So I've had to pour it awfully fast, which is a lot faster than I would normally do into a jar like this, because, and it's going to bubble as it cooks, because otherwise I end up with it all over the bench. We're having a great start to the day, aren't we? Superb. But that smells amazing. I've made a mess, I've splattered my book, but I have some super amazing smelling chili oil. I wouldn't be a day in my kitchen without issues. I even pulled, look, you probably can't see it at the moment, but I pulled like things out everywhere so that I've got everything on hand, made sure that I had everything, and still managed to make a mess. So, but fresh green onions in this is amazing. I don't have any at the moment. So we have just got this tasty chili oil. I may boil myself up some noodles to have with it, I think, since I've gone to the effort of making it. I really need a little one of these pots that has the pouring spout on it. It would make life so much easier. I think I shall look for one. Maybe I'll have a look on Amazon, see if I can find a little cast iron one with a pouring spout. But yeah, that is done. So we'll put that aside. I'm going to clean this bench up again, and then I'll come back. So we'll let that cool a little bit and the flavors meld, and then I might make some ramen to have with it. But the other thing I was going to do was some ramen seasoning. So the kids have just been using the chicken bouillon, which is fine, but I'd like to, there's a lot of salt in this, so I'd like to fill it out with some other, you know, seasonings to create a bit more depth to this, okay? So what I plan to do is, let me get some clean and dry spoons. What we're going to do is we're going to create this that they can then just grab their teaspoonfuls out of, instead of just taking a teaspoon or whatever out of the chicken stock. So I'm going to do it on some ratios. I'm going to figure this out as I go. What I'm going to start off with, I've cleaned my thing too, is I'm going to start off with a cup of the chicken stock. So this is a quarter cup, so we've got 2, 3, 4. All right, we got a cup of the chicken stock. Now we're going to add some smoked paprika to this. One of the few things that I didn't pull out, smoked paprika. So now we're going to do a quarter of a cup of that. So 1/4 of a part of that. We're going to do some onion flakes. And I'm going to do, say, 1/4 of a part of that as well. Then we want some parsley, which again, I'm going to do 1/4 of the then I'm going to do some garlic powder and some onion powder and some salt and some pepper. So salt wise, I'm going to do, no, actually I'm not going to add any salt. I think there should be enough in the chicken bouillon, but I am going to add some pepper. So I'm going to add, say, just a tablespoon of pepper into that, but I'm not going to bump the salt because there's plenty of salt in this already. So all I want to add though is some garlic and onion powder. Put the onion powder in a jar yet, but I'm just going to put a tablespoon, this is really fine powder, and then a tablespoon of the really fine garlic powder as well. And then I need to find jars for these ones in vacuum sealed in jars. And all I'm going to do is give this a shake. And now it's just the chicken bouillon, but added those extra flavours to bulking that up a little bit.
I'll try it.
Okay, Sonnet's so hard done by volunteering to try it for me. So that's that there. So that's the ramen powder. And we'll have to see how much is needed. Probably 2 teaspoons full because it's bulked up there. We'll see how we go. So we will make that up. So we've now got the ramen powder and the chili. So I was going to make some noodles up to try it anyway. So we've got the chili oil and we've got the ramen powder done. So that's the first set there. So I might actually grab some noodles to cook up. While my noodles are cooking, I'm just going to mix up I just realised that my mic has not been on this whole time. So we'll see how the sound comes out on all of that. Just superb. Anyway. The French onion soup mix, 1.5 cups of onion flakes in here. We're then going to add to that 3/4 cup of beef bouillon. I like the Massel's stuff. So most of a tin of this, which is fine. That's why I bought it. It was on special when I bought it. So that's the 3/4 cup approximately of beef bouillon. We want 2 tablespoons of onion powder to bump that onion flavour up. And then we do 1/2 tablespoon of paprika. Yes, I mix my spice spoons because if you haven't noticed, I tend to use most of the same spices in everything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 1/2 tablespoon of garlic powder and then a tablespoon of cracked pepper. And we have French onion soup mix. Now you can add some starch to this if you want it to be something that thickens, but I actually use this as a seasoning in a lot of things. So when I want to make it into a soup, that's when I would thicken it rather than now, because like French onion meatballs are a favourite. I might have to make them again soon. Just beef meatballs with this as part of the seasoning mix. So then we've got French onion soup mix, super easy, done. All right. Need a new jar for the everything bagel, but the noodles are almost ready. So everything bagel. We're moving along quite well here. So we're going to do 3/4 cup of white sesame seeds. And I've got some toasted ones left, so I might use 1/2 cup of plain and 1/4 cup of toasted, only because I sprinkle this on things that don't get cooked as well as on bagels. So we've got 3/4 cup of white sesame seeds there. We want 1/2 cup of onion flakes. And then we want 1/2 cup of the garlic flakes that I finally remembered to buy. Because you want all the pieces to be similar sized, otherwise they just don't blend properly. So if you've got like a garlic powder but an onion flake, the garlic powder just falls to the bottom and it just isn't as effective. All right, so we've got 1/2 cup of each of those. We want 1/2 cup of black sesame seeds. I haven't grabbed them. I need to grab them. And then 5 tablespoons of flaked salt. And then we're going to use poppy seeds. So we want 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of poppy seeds. I really like poppy seeds, so I tend to err on this higher side. And then let me just find the black Nigella seeds. I have to find the Nigella seeds. I'm going to put this aside because my noodles are done. So we're going to pull the noodles out to try this. All right, so I bought some of the knife cut noodles so that I could try this. So as generous or not as you want to be. with the added fillings. And then this has some soy sauce in it, but you can always add some soy sauce to it as well. And we did just make the new ramen seasoning that can be added too, but I'm just going to do the chili oil to start with and see the flavor of that, and then go from there. Oh, spicy. Yeah. Sonnet's done her ramen style noodles with her googly egg for the top that she poaches over the top. And then we're going to add... Alright, I've looked everywhere for the Nigella seeds and I can't find them. So I must need to order some more. So I also need to order some more of the garlic flakes because I only bought a small container just to get me through. So I'll order some more of those and I'll order the Nigella seeds. But this is pretty tasty regardless, even without it. And it works really well as a topping on... I really like it on eggs. But it works as a topping on bread rolls and as topping on bagels, obviously. But yeah, I like it sprinkled on anything and everything. So we've got the everything bagel mixed there. It's just not quite as pretty without the black Nigella seeds in there, but it still be tasty. So everything bagel done. So we've got the French onion soup mix, the everything bagel, and the ramen seasoning. And now let me tidy up and we'll move on to the next. All right, next on the cards, we're going to do the hot chocolate powder. Perfect weather for hot chocolate at the moment, so we're going to do that. So I do that in parts. We're going to do 2 parts sugar, which is 400 grams, and I'm going to weigh it into the Thermomix so that I can grind it up. Because again, a bit like the bagel seasoning and everything else, you want everything to be the same consistency for it to blend properly. So we've got 400 grams of sugar, and we're going to put a lid on this and we're going to powder it. All right, we're just going to put it up to speed 10 to powder that. And then we're going to add the same weight in coconut milk powder or cow's milk powder if that's what you're using. And we're going to grind that to make sure that it's all the same texture. A couple of seconds is all it takes. Blend it through, break up that coconut milk powder and blend it with the sugar. And then we're going to add our cocoa, which we're going to add 1 part. So the 400 grams was 2 parts. We're going to add 1 part of cocoa. Just grab our scales up. Might need another bag. We're going to blend that one. All right, then we're going to add a bit of salt. So, where's my salt tin? There we go. We're going to add 20 grams of salt, which helps to bring out that chocolate flavour. And then we're going to add some potato starch, and this helps with creating the thickness in it because we're not adding cream or milk or anything to it. They just make it on hot water. So the potato starch helps with that thickness. So for this amount, I'm going to go 100 grams of potato starch. And then we're just going to bring it all together. And then I'll grab a spatula to make sure that we've got it mixed up. And then that's it. That's a big batch of hot chocolate powder for the kids. So just going to bring those side bits in. Make sure that's all blended up and it's all uniformly sized and perfect for the kids. So then we just transfer it to a jar. Using these IKEA jars, these are great. They're a good size, nice wide openings for getting things in and out of. There we go. Hot chocolate powder for the kids for after dinner or afternoon snacks, whatever. And I need to find another lid because I don't seem to have the lid for this one here. But that's that. Another thing knocked off the list. The other thing that I was going to mix up while I've got, let me get my camera situated, while I've got chocolate in here, was some cake mix for Sonnet to use, because she really likes making cakes, and so does Karvik. And I was buying some of the box mixes and things like that, and they have to have things clean. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a couple of chocolate cake mixes. Now, I'm going to use the chocolate Hershey's cake as the base one, because it's always really good. It's full of sugar, which is probably why it's really good, but you know, that's what it is. So I'm going to mix up the dry goods all into one batch for her to use. So it's 440 grams of sugar. I might do 220 raw, 220 coconut. All right, so 220 raw, and we'll use 220 of the coconut. Oh, my measuring cup just snapped. And then we're going to add 55 grams of cocoa. We're going to add a tablespoon of baking powder, a flat one, and the same of bicarb. Teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to add 265 grams of plain flour. And I'm just going to bring it all together like with the chocolate powder, and there we go, we've got a chocolate cake mix. So then I'm just going to figure out what I want to store that in. So this here is enough for one, say like slab cake, a 9 by 13, or say 24 cupcakes. It's about 820 grams. So it's about 410 grams per one cake pan or 12 cupcakes. So I'm going to mix up another batch of it while I've got all the stuff out. Because I reckon I'll be able to get 2 full batches in this jar, settled it down a bit, and then when she wants to use it, she can just measure out 410 grams to add to the wet ingredients. So the Hershey's cake, the wet ingredients with that are 2 eggs, 250 grams of milk, 125 grams of oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and 250 grams of boiling water. So I will write down the ratios for, she'd probably be unlikely to make less than 24 cupcakes at a time anyway. But I'll write down the ratios and put a label on it. I'm also going to make a vanilla mix up as well, a muffin mix more than a cake mix, but I'm going to need a clean bowl to do a vanilla one of those. So I'm just going to mix this, another batch of this up first, and then top this jar up, and then I'll pull another jar out and we'll make some muffin mix up. Change my mind again, and ended up in the big jar because it was just a little too compacted in the half-gallon jar. So I ended up doing a third batch because I could. So there is 6 cakes worth of, or 3 slab cakes worth of, or 24, 48, 72 cupcakes worth in this batch. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to do a label up for it so that they know how to use it and get this on the shelf. Another thought while I'm doing all this is instant porridge. We've run out of instant porridge. I've got this bowl here which has the chocolate powder in it and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that to make the choc banana before I grab the other one out that I was going to make the muffin mix in, and maybe I'll make a apple cinnamon porridge as well. So I'll do a choc banana and then apple cinnamon instant porridge as well. Get that done, and then make the base muffin mix. And I think that's all. I think. So let's get this mixed up first. I need to grab my oats out. So we've got this bowl that's already had the cocoa in it, so that will work. I always do a 600 grams as a max of oats because we want it to grind up to a fairly nice fine powder, and I find that 600 grams is a good amount. You can go higher, but you just don't get as, I need to open that a bit more, you just don't get quite as consistent a fine grain. So we've got plain rolled oats that I'm going to turn into instant oats. So we've got 600 grams of those. All right, so we've got 600 grams of oats turned to instant oats to put in there. Next we're going to do the sugar. It's basically the same as what we did with the hot chocolate. We want to grind the sugar down and then add the coconut milk powder so that it all ends up consistently grained.
I just wanted to ask, there was no icing sugar, so I just mixed up regular sugar into powder. Is that the same?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm allowed to add vegetables.
Do whatever you want. We're going to add 150 grams of sugar. And I'm just going to use the coconut sugar because it's what I've got out. And then we want 200 grams of the coconut milk powder. And we're going to grind that up together. And then we're going to add the banana powder. Now, I've had lots of discussions about this banana powder with a lot of people. It definitely is 100% banana, and it's not green banana flour. The brand on the box is Diana Foods, and there's photos of them filling the dehydrators, and they're definitely ripe bananas. Not, super ripe, but definitely ripe bananas. They're just, I don't know, maybe it's a different type of banana that I'm used to, which is why they're not quite as sweet. I'm not sure, but it still works. All right, so then we've got some chocolate flavored protein powder, and I'll put some cocoa in as well. And then we're going to blend that together. We're going to add a little bit of salt. And then we're just going to add it to this, give it a shake, and choc banana porridge is done again for the moment. And then we blend the instant oats with all the coconut milk powder, the sugar, chocolate, banana, all the rest of it. And there we go. Chocolate, banana, instant porridge, done. So now I just need a clean bowl, and we'll do the apple cinnamon, and then we might do the dried muffin mix as well. Same general method. We're going to use sugar first. I need a different measuring cup though, because that one's got cocoa on it. Actually, we'll do the oats first. So 600 grams of oats again. We're going to do the vanilla sugar cookie with the apple cinnamon, which I reckon tastes a bit like apple pie then. So we got oats. Alright. Then we're going to do our 150 grams of sugar, 200 grams of coconut milk powder. Then we're going to add the sugar cookie protein powder. We're going to add a pinch of salt, and we're going to add some cinnamon to this one. And then we have the apples. So Carol sent me freeze-dried apples. Now last time I ended up destroying the whole batch. I mentioned it in the comments, but in case you missed it, because I didn't pull the silica sachet out. So this time we're going to be more careful. Silica sachet. So no need to worry about that. This time, there's two of them. So glad I was doing a proper check. So there we go. So we put those in there, and we're going to grind all of this up. And now we got a powder. So oats, coconut milk powder, cinnamon, sugar, freeze-dried apples, sugar cookie protein powder, no silica sachets, no. All in. So that will be very tasty. So So that one is done. I haven't got a lid for this one yet, so I'll find a lid and we'll give that a shake. And that one will be super tasty. Apple pie, basically. Apple pie instant porridge. All right, now let me tidy up again. All right, I'm going to do the muffin mix up in a sec, and which will be a good base one. So that's one that Sonnet can mix up, and she can add a cup of whatever she wants, whether it's a fruit or chocolate chips or whatever. Less sweet muffin rather than no icing sort of thing, whereas the chocolate one's going to be a bit more of a rich sort of a cake. I was going to do a vanilla cake, a yellow cake, white cake, whatever you want to call it, but I don't think I will because the muffins are better, less sugar, and you can add whatever you want to them. So if they add the chocolate chips, then that's fine. But I did think about it while I've got everything out. I might make Daryl up some of the mushroom salt that he really likes. So I've got a whizzy cup here, and I'm going to grind up some mushrooms and some dehydrated mushrooms and make his mushroom salt. So just because I just ground up some pepper, and this has pepper in it, so it's a good time to get this done. And while I'm doing the other seasonings, let me run my my mixed dehydrated mushrooms. We need 85 grams of these, which I might need to do in 2 batches because I'm not using the Thermomix at the moment because I would have to find another bowl. So that's 50 grams. We'll grind these up. So we've ground that to a powder. I'm just going to put that in the jar. Like that. And then we'll add the other 35 grams to grind up as well. So there we go. Now these are the mixed mushrooms from Costco. These are a really good value. $17 or something, I think, for the big container. And they last me multiple batches of this, or for rehydrating for some minced dishes and things like that. Can I have that back, please? We're also going to do some pepper and some thyme. So we use 2 tablespoons of thyme, and I'm going to get Sonnet to give it a quick whiz just so the consistency is a little bit better, and a tablespoon of pepper. And then I'm going to put just a pinch of pepper flakes in it, just like that. Add a little bit of heat, and I'll get Sonnet to whiz that up as well. So we've got that and the mushroom like that, and then salt, flaked salt. We'll see how much it ends up being because my recipe's got 270 grams of salt, which is a lot. Grams of flake salt. Let me have a... I kind of feel like... I don't know when I made this last. It was a while ago. But I kind of feel like we could do less salt because then you've just got more seasoning with less salt. I think I'll add a little bit more salt, but I don't think I'll add the full 270. I think I might add just say another 50 grams. And I think that will be a good mix. And I think that flake salt is blending really well with those extra little bits that are chunky of the thyme and things like that, because we didn't bring them down to a complete powder, because part of the idea of a flavoured salt is that there's texture to it as well. So I'll get this one done, and then we're going to clean this bench a bit. And Sonnet's going to help me because she loves me. And
I want to see.
Then we will get the muffin mix done, and then I'll lay everything out to show. Don't push on the scales because you damage the scales. Alright, so we got mushroom salt for whoever wants to use it. Daryl especially likes it, but whoever wants to use it can. Alright, so let's get tidied up. Alright, so the last thing we're doing is a really simple muffin mix. Now, Sonnet is more than capable of following a recipe and doing this herself, but Karvik really likes making packet mixes and stuff. He just finds it simpler, and it's just going to make it easy for Sonnet as well. So we're just going to make the standard, a really simple muffin mix. And again, I'm just going to grind everything up and mix it so that it's all just ready to go. And I'll have to write out some tags that I'll put with the jars as well. So let's make a, how much will I make? Let's say a 1.5 kilo flour mix approximately. So we want 550 odd grams of sugar. I've been playing with the ratios of this and figuring out the best amount to work for this style. All right, 550 of sugar. We're going to do the baking powder. 50 might work. And then 20 grams of bicarb. We're going to do a good bit of salt. And I'm actually going to reduce some of the flour and put some protein powder in here, I think. Whatever you want. So this is a muffin mix. This is a base muffin mix. You can add chopped up apple, or you could add chocolate chips, or you could add whatever you wanted to it. It's just a base. So a vanilla. Do we have a vanilla protein powder there? Yep. So we've got a vanilla buttercream one here. I don't know what's left, but all I'm going to do is swap out some of the flour for this. This is almond based. So realistically, it should work fine because muffins aren't a light and fluffy thing anyway. They're heavier than a cake. And you can flip out almond flour for things. So we're going to give it a go anyway. And I'm just going to start off with a small amount. So there was 100 grams left in the bottom of that. So I'm just going to use that 100 grams off there. We're going to blend this all together. Just like that. And then we're just going to add that to the flour. And then it's ready for her to do what she wants with it. So, all right, so we've got 1.4 kilos of flour in there. I probably should have made it easier on myself and did it in my really big bowl and then transferred it, but it's fine. Not the optimal jars to be shaking, but there we go. So we have a dry muffin mix as well. All right. Now, Sonnet wants me to put a sticker on that one to label it, but also I'll get cleaned up, I'll get everything laid out, and then we'll go over it all. All right, so that's it for the day. We have French onion soup mix, which can be used for, they can just make it as instant soup if they want. It could be used in the ramen if they wanted to. It's sort of a beef base, that one, so beef and onion base. But it's really nice mixed in to mince to make meatballs and stuff as well. It's just a really nice flavorful thing that can be added to a lot of different things. This mix of beef bouillon with onion and things like that. So we got French onion soup mix. We have the chili oil. Now this is really nice, but it's probably a little spicy for us. I am thinking, I'm going to stick it in the fridge, but I am thinking that I would probably use half the amount of chili at double everything else. And it would probably be a better ratio for us, but I really like the texture of it with the toasted sesame seeds and stuff in there. It's probably a little too spicy, but it was really, really tasty on those noodles. So we have chili oil. We have everything bagel, except it's missing the Nigella seeds. So it doesn't look as pretty because the Nigella seeds aren't in there, but it will still taste just as good. And I will get some Nigella seeds to add to it as well. Ramen seasoning. So this was chicken stock based ramen seasoning. Sonnet had some today on some noodles and was happy with it. I had it today, so I added the chili oil to the rippled noodles, and then I just added half a teaspoon of this as well to give it a little bit more depth of flavor with the chili oil, and it was really, really good. So very happy with that. So that's that ramen mix. And then mushroom salt, which is mostly for Daryl. He really, really likes mushroom salt. I will eat it. It's just not something that I reach for, but he really likes it. So I wanted to make that for him. There's a few kids who like mushrooms, so they probably like it as well. But yes, that's the mushroom salt done. So those 5 done. Then we did the Hershey's chocolate cake mix. So this will make 6 cakes. 6 single cakes or 3 slab cakes, or about 72 cupcakes. I'll write it all up for her, but there's that Hershey's chocolate cake mix. It just has to have the wet ingredients. Hot chocolate powder for the kids as well. Dairy-free hot chocolate powder made for them to have. And then the muffin mix. So this is slightly lower sugar. It's got a little bit of a protein boost with that protein powder in there. And this will make approximately 5 batches of muffins as well. It's a similar sort of a ratio. It's 420 grams per the tray of muffins, or a single, cake or whatever. It's made for muffins. So 420 grams will make like a 12 pack of muffins, similar to this, but in slightly different wet to dry ratio because it's a muffin mix, not a cake mix. And then that she can add her add-ins, or whoever wants to make it. So with choc chips or some apple or whatever they want to add to it. Apple cinnamon muffins are one of my favorite, or lemon poppy seed. That's also one of my favorite flavors. So we will look at doing some of those over the next week or two and show you them being made up as well. And then instant oats. So apple pie, instant oats, Sonnet just made up one of each flavor. She made up one of the apple pie, and then we have the choc banana instant oats as well. She made up one of each, and she has enjoyed both of them. Her and Apollo are eating them now. So a good day's worth of filling the pantry. And yeah, that's it. It's all of a sudden overcast. It's only 3:30, but it's all of a sudden really overcast, and it's cool. I did pull chicken out to have for dinner tonight, and it's not defrosted, so I need to go and find something. But I just remembered that I have pork diced from the other day that I didn't mince to use for gyozas or something that I might make something with. So I might pull that out. And yeah, we will just go from there. So that is it for me today. I'm pretty happy with what I got done, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Me too. Thanks for all the stuff.